problem here, instead of putting minus and negative 3, our first step is that you want to add 3 to both sides. So if we do that, so that's happening in both 12 and 13. That's how you kind of had to do question 1. So we add 3 to both sides, and we have n divided by 2 is equal to 8. And now, if I have n divided by 2, the opposite actually, Ferris, of dividing by 2 is to do what? Multiply. And I'm going to multiply this side by 2 over 1, and here I'm just going to take it times 2. And so when I do that, this 2 over 2 leaves me with n, and n is 16. And if I did the check on this one, I'd take negative 3 times plus 16 divided by 2. And 16 divided by 2 is 8, and 8 plus negative 3 gives me 5, and it checks. So I know I was doing it right. Make sure you're not trying to entertain each other as we are looking at this. So, as we are looking at your homework, right? First thing we are going to do is we are going to be looking at the problem, and we are going to rearrange it. So we are on page 11, right, of your notes. Is that what page we're on? Yeah. Page 11. So page 11, please turn to that page. Okay? So page 11. If that's the only thing you didn't have done, I'll try to check. So page 11. We are going to rearrange this. So we're going to put the 2x, and then I want you to rearrange this, and we are going to write minus 1x. Minus 13 equals 21. Page 11. Right. You need a pencil or pen to check back that way. So now we are going to add our like terms. So 2x minus 1x, if I'm adding those together. Fisher, I'm going to have, is that right?
Yes.
How much? X. Just x. Can we put a 1 in front of the x? Yes. Could we just leave it as an x? Sure. Pick up your notes so you're writing these in, please. Ashley. So we get 1x minus 13 equals 21. Pretty easy problem at this point, right? If I'm going to be solving this one, Lisa, what do I need to do to get x by itself? Add 13 on both sides. So we add 13. And we are going to have x is equal to 34. Carter, tell me how I'm checking it. What am I writing down?
Okay, so you're going to put 2 times 34.
Yep.
Minus 4 times 34.
Not yet. Minus what?
Oh, minus 13.
Minus 13.
And then minus 34.
Okay. Put this in your calculator, please. If you didn't grab a calculator, grab one. 2 times 34 minus 13 minus 34 is what we are checking. I'm writing right here. Copy that. Good. So now you can write on this one. We're going to rearrange this next one. If I am rearranging, Jacqueline, we're going to put our y terms down first. So we're going to write it as what? Negative 5y minus 2y. Okay, Ashton, we are adding those like terms together.
Negative 7y.
Negative 7y. We have plus 12 equals negative 16. My next step, Ashley Ferris, is I'm trying to get that negative 7y. Looks kind of like our problems that we started with. What are you going to do? To get rid of this plus 12. Subtract 12. So we're subtracting 12, and here's where some of you will make some mistakes, and this is why we're working on that dream box with your negative integers and adding and subtracting. Negative 16 minus 12. You can either put it in as a negative 16 minus 12, and you should get a negative 28. If you're not sure about doing those integers, make sure you're using your calculator for that. So Evan, I have negative 7y is equal to negative 28. What are you doing? Divide by negative 7. And y is equal to, in this case, 4. So again, if I get y equals 4, I am now doing my check. Sadie, what does that check look like? Let's do the check right above the problem in room, right? For our check. Oh, okay. Then you're a perfect person to choose for this. So what you're going to do is from this original problem, and I know you'd like to tell us, but we're going to have her work it through. So every place instead of where the y is when you tell me, that's where you're going to tell me to put a 4. Okay? So what would I write down first?
5.
Wait. You put 5 or? Yeah, let's go -5. So we got -5 times 4. Okay, put that whole thing in your calculator, right? That's what we're doing. And the first 2 homework questions that you have, they ask you, see if this is a solution. So they give you the answer and they just ask you to do the check. So when you are doing that in your homework, someone said, can I start with -5? No, it's a -5. So make sure you use that parenthesis button below your 3 for a lot of you, or you might have a +- button. I have to put mine in this way when I go to my negative. So I want to put in 5 ± or negative times the 4 plus 12. Did it work, Sadie? -2. Ashley, did you plug it in your calculator already? You did? Did yours work? Did you get -16? Okay. Sadie, did it work? Yeah. -16. So we want to keep putting that whole problem in as you were doing that. And then we had that 2 times the 4 and -16, right? So you just had to make sure you're finishing that. Now, answers are in the back, but the first 2 homework questions, what I ask you if it works, I'm looking for you to show me that in your homework tonight, okay? So, James, let's take a look at that next page in your notes, or next page down that you're on. And we are going to use our distributive property. In front of that J, there is what number? 1. We're going to write this as 1J, right? And then, James, we are multiplying using our distributive property. So are you ready? Okay, so 1J plus what? Plus 15. Minus what? Okay, 6J equals 25. Okay, Ashton, you're right, and you have nothing to write with. Okay, we're filling these in. We've already done the ones on the top, right? So if we are looking at this, and I am now writing in that answer, Julia, we want to rearrange and put our J terms all together. So we're going to have what? 1J. Okay, 1J, and then what should I write if I just want to rearrange it? Plus 6J plus 15 equals 25? Sure or not sure? Did you go minus 15 or plus 15? You did? I don't know either. How did you write it? But you did do the 7J. So do you agree that if I put this, if I notice in front of this 15 it's a plus, I should keep this as a plus? Does that make sense to you? Yeah. Okay. So, Gavin, do you agree that she has 1J plus 6J?
I think it should be 1J minus 6J.
Why? Because it's a minus up here. You cannot, and there's a bunch of people, oh my gosh, in the homework I was checking people's, and I'm looking at this worksheet, and all of a sudden it's a minus, and you're just like, hey, I want to make it positive, and I'm glad you're positive people, that's a good thing. But it does not work in these equations, and your answers will not work out if you just want to make everything positive in life. I appreciate that. But, so now, Gavin, when we add 1J and negative 6J, what do you end up with? Negative 5. That's going to make a huge difference when we are solving these. And we get plus 15 is equal to 25. So now, Ashley Brooks, if I'm solving this, what am I doing to get rid of that plus 15? Subtract 15, both sides of the equation. I do subtraction of 15 on both sides, and Olivia, I'm going to end up with, what'd you get? Well, you subtracted 15, so you got to be with us on this one. Subtracted 15. What's left on this side of the equal sign? On this side of the equal sign, on the left side, what do you have left?
Oh, negative 5J.
Negative 5J. equals 10. And I'll have some people just not put this negative here. And so then what they do is they divide both sides and they get j equals 2. And that is not the right answer if you go back to check it. So when there is a negative in front, you cannot just be positive people and get rid of that. The answer should have been negative 2. Now, this next one is not going to work out, James. I need your head up as much as nicely. But when we are looking at this one, how do we do the check? So, on your paper, telling me, what am I writing down, Michaela, for the check? Start at what?
2 plus 3.
Wait. What's the root? Negative 2, is that what you said? Plus 3, okay.
5 minus 2, negative 2.
Okay. So, first off, this inside this parenthesis, 5 minus 2 times negative 2. What is negative 2 times negative 2? 4. So this is really 5 plus 4, do you agree? And 5 plus 4 is going to add to 5 plus 4 is how much? 9, correct? You could put the whole thing in your calculator. Negative 2 times 3 times 9. Do you agree that that's 27 minus 2? Does that equal what we were supposed to get? Yes. But if you would have put a positive 2 in here, this would have been a 1 here, and that would not work. This one does come out as a decimal, and I just want you to be aware of that as we're looking at it. But Katie, or Jennifer, you're going to start us off. What are we going to do?
Multiply.
Okay, tell me what to write down.
6r plus 10 plus 9 equals.
Okay. So now, as we are continuing with this one, Carter, what are we going to do next?
We're going to add. Yeah, we're going to take 10 and 9 and put it in.
Yes, those are like terms on that side, so we're going to rewrite that as 6r plus 19. So now, if we are looking at that, Karina, how do I get 6r by 12? Yeah, we do that, Amy, and we're looking at what? Negative 7 equals 6r. And now, Ashton, we're dividing both sides by 6. And we get r equals negative 7 over 6. Maybe your answer is negative 7 over 6. Yes. If you haven't had hardly any fraction answers except for those 2 on the worksheet, you're going to get some fraction and decimal answers. You will on the quiz. It's not wrong when you do these. But now, how do you check that? So that's where people were struggling. So I want you to write down the check first. Are you ready, Jacqueline, to tell us how we're going to write it down and put it in our calculator? Okay, go. Write this down, those of you that are like, I don't get the checks. Okay, so. Well, 7 divided by 6, right? So when we put that in our calculator, that's how we're going to put it in. But let's keep writing it. Plus, this is our big back parenthesis. We're going to use the parenthesis buttons on our calculator too. Plus 9. So, using that calculator, we want to use, you should have parenthesis buttons above on your calculator, above the numbers. Use those parentheses. So, we are going to start with 2. Then it's times. We're going to put our parentheses. Okay, use your calculator now. We're putting 7. Now mine, I use the plus minus button after I put it. A lot of you use that parenthesis with a negative. Don't use minus 7, right? So mine I have to put in the 7, then I get the plus minus. Then we're putting divided by 6. Then we're putting plus 5. And now I need my back parenthesis. So hit the back parenthesis button. And now we're going to put plus 9.
I got 12.
You got 12? So let's see if I put it in right, right? Because I got 12 the first time I did it too. So 2 times parentheses, 3 times, I think I just did 3 minus 7, I think is what happened on mine. So then I'm going to put 7, yeah. So 3 times 7 negative divided by 6 plus 5 back parenthesis plus 9. Okay. Yeah. You have this little button at the bottom right here, plus minus. That's your plus minus. I don't know if on your calculator, so some of your calculators have a plus minus button. It might look like this, like mine did. A lot of your calculators have a negative button like this. So that negative, you just have to know if you have to plug in that, hit that first. So you need to play with your calculator, so it's important you having your calculator to know, do you hit the negative first before the 7, or do you hit 7 and then hit the button? I don't know which one. Each calculator is a little different, okay? So it does work. We saw that it's a check, so you're going to have some fraction answers. If you're looking at these two problems, have we seen these before? Have we seen the exact same problems?
Yes.
Yesterday's worksheet, so let's only do one of them, right? Let's do the first one. This is telling us, and let's go instead of G, let's make it an X. X minus 5 divided by 9 is equal to negative 4. What would we do on both sides? Multiply by 9. Multiply by 9. You want to show the canceling, right? 9 over 9 is the same as 1. X minus 5 equals negative 36. Right? We did this yesterday. This was one of the questions in your homework, right? We added 5 to both sides. X was equal to negative 31. And I believe if you do that check, this comes out to be a negative 36 divided by 9, which is negative 4. So we are not going to do this one. Some of you might even remember the answer, but we've already done this on that worksheet that we had for today, right? So we're not going to do this one again, just for the sake of practicing it, because you already did it in your homework. You should have got negative 7. Here is the thing that I do see some of you doing. You don't like the problem written with the variable second. So you will rewrite this problem, and you'll rewrite it this way. And that is wrong. So I just want you to be aware, if you rewrite it, and you like the variable first, no problem, put the variable first, but there was a minus or a negative with that variable. And in front of the 6, there's no sign, so that is a plus. So you can rewrite it this way, but you cannot just switch the positive and negatives with the other number, okay? So the last thing we're going to do before we get you started on your homework, you're going to have quite a bit of time. Hopefully you almost have this whole thing done before you leave. And if you finish it, you can get on Dreambox and try and get some more lessons done, because that's our goal with that. But in this one, it says we've already solved this equation. We need to justify the steps by giving an accurate explanation of what has happened in each step. So in the first one, we got rid of the parenthesis. What property is that gets rid of the parenthesis? The distributive property. So please write distributive property. In the next one, if you take a look at this, they had 6x and minus 8x, and now they have negative 2x. They had 14 and negative 5, and now they have a plus 9. What did they do? They, Fisher, combine like terms or added like terms. I don't care if you write combine or add like terms, right? So let's say, well, what if you're subtracting them? Well, combining, adding, you're adding the opposite, same thing. Now, they don't have negative 2x plus 9, they just have negative 2x. How'd they get rid of the 9? What'd they do? Subtract 9 from both sides. Another thing we sometimes call that is the subtraction property of equality. I'm okay if you just put subtract 9, but make sure you tell me both sides of our equal. And then the last step, what they do to finish the problem? Divided by negative 2. Divide both sides by negative 2.